How's it going, everybody? Johnny Talks Sports with my Week 11 college football predictions and NFL Week 10 predictions against the spread. So 3-2 last week in college football for the second straight week, and also for the second straight week, 3-1 in NFL. So kind of had a slow start to the NFL against the spread this season, but the last 2 weeks have looked pretty good. Can I make it 3 in a row? We'll find out. And college football, it's kind of not where I want to be right now. 3-2 the last couple weeks. I just feel like I could have done a little bit better. However, it's a new week, new picks. So let's quickly go through these picks real quick. Starting off with college, West Virginia minus 11.5. Northwestern plus 11. Nebraska minus 17. Oklahoma State plus 20.5. And USC minus 5.5. So West Virginia is coming off of what you can say an emotional victory over Texas. A game they had to come from behind and ultimately win the game. And this could be the season changer that West Virginia needs to get back in their playoff race. I think West Virginia is still in it, but they need a couple things to happen for them to get into that 4-team playoff. They've got to win out first. But TCU is a team that has very much underachieved. In fact, I think they're considered to be the disappointment of college football in 2018. Ever since the second half of the Ohio State game, this TCU team has not been the same. It hasn't even looked like a college football team, like a pretty solid Big 12 team whatsoever. And for only West Virginia to win by 12 points against a team like TCU, I feel like this is too good of a pick to pass up. So I'm going to take West Virginia minus 11.5. Northwestern plus 11. I went with Northwestern last week with the 9.5 against Notre Dame. That didn't work out. I essentially got backdoored in the last 3 minutes of that one. Northwestern got it to within 3, but their defense just couldn't get one more stop. And they go on the road against Iowa, where they're looking to get back on a winning streak, as the Iowa Hawkeyes have lost 2 in a row in games they probably could have won against Penn State and Purdue. And a heartbreaking loss in both of those. I know Iowa's going to play the chip on their shoulder, but I feel like 11 points. I think that's enough to pick a team like Northwestern. I think it's enough to take a risk on, and that's what I'm going to do this week. Northwestern plus 11. Especially the team built like Northwestern, a team that competed with number 3 Notre Dame pretty well. I think this is enough points. Next, Nebraska minus 17 over Illinois. It's very rare that you can say a team that is 2-7 has momentum going into a matchup. And based off of Nebraska's last 3 weeks, I feel like that this Husker team, they've got momentum. Quarterback Adrian Martinez is playing a little bit better. The defense is somewhat stepping it up. If Nebraska didn't have those mistakes in the Ohio State game, the kick-up, that onside kick when they were up 7-0, that fail, the blocked punt, if those 2 things don't happen, Nebraska probably has a really good shot of winning that game and having complete momentum going into this one. In fact, I think the line for this would have shot up to about maybe 23 if the Huskers would have won that game last week. But 17 is enough for me to take a pick on this. You've never seen me pick Nebraska on this. I've only picked Nebraska once this season, and it didn't work out. It was against Colorado, and I haven't picked them since. But I feel like now this Nebraska team has confidence. I feel like this team is looking a lot different now than what it was in week 1. Well, their first game they played. Because it was Adrian Martinez's first game as a starter. But Adrian Martinez has gotten better as the season has gone along. And Nebraska minus 17 in Memorial Stadium against a team like Illinois that has the second worst total defense in Power 5. I think 17 points. I think this is another steal here. Nebraska minus 17. Locking that in. Oklahoma State plus 20.5 over Oklahoma. The reason why I'm taking this one, I feel like this is a lock. I feel like Oklahoma State, they're not going to win the game, but they're not going to lose by more than 21. Because you're asking for a Big 12 game to be decided. You're asking for a bedlam to be decided by 3 touchdowns, and that barely happened. That is a rarity for Big 12 play in recent years. Especially if this game ends up in a shootout, because the last week against Texas Tech, Oklahoma, they kind of found themselves in a game where it had to be a shootout. Oklahoma was battle-tested last week against Texas Tech, and I think they could be battle-tested again, because I think Oklahoma State is going to stay in this game for quite a long time, enough to where it's easier than to beat this 20.5. And I'm taking those Cowboys at plus 20.5. Final pick, USC minus 5.5 over Cal. Now, Cal almost upset Washington State last week, and USC is the only team to beat Washington State so far. And I think this USC team is going to get that 6th win of the season because they realize their schedule coming up. They have got a chance to get bowl eligible this week to get their 6th win, and to get a 7th win against UCLA, who is struggling this season, and a possibility of spoiling Notre Dame's college football playoff hopes in the final weekend of the regular season. So there is still a lot to play for USC, and this Pac-12 South is up for grabs right now. So there's still a lot for the Trojans to play for, and I think they win and cover. So let's get to the NFL now. Steelers at minus 3.5 over the Panthers. Redskins plus 3 over the Buccaneers. The Los Angeles Chargers minus 10 over the Raiders. And the Eagles minus 7 over the Cowboys. The Steelers at minus 3.5. Thursday Night Football. Heinz Field. The Steelers are confident right now. However, Cam Newton is kind of playing great right now. In fact, he's on a better pace than in the year he won MVP. But the Steelers, I think, are more confident right now. The Steelers had a slow start to the season. They've had some distractions. Will Le'Veon Bell be playing this season? Will he show up to practice? Antonio Brown attacking trolls on Twitter. I feel like the chemistry in the Steelers locker room, I think it's back. I think they're back to proper chemistry. I think the Steelers are realizing what they've got coming up. James Conner has completely won over the Steelers locker room, and I think the Steelers win and cover the minus 3.5. Next, Redskins plus 3 over the Buccaneers. There is a reason why the Redskins are plus 3. You could say the Redskins lost 3 offensive linemen for the season in the last game. However, the Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. And I do think this game will be close. I feel like this game actually will be decided by maybe 3 points. This is a type of game where Alex Smith can be that game manager that he is known for. And I think that Redskins defense, I think they are going to have a chance to redeem themselves from last week. Because a 30-14 loss is what I believe the final score was against the Falcons. They've got a chance to recover and respond. I think they will. Redskins plus 3. Locking it in. Chargers minus 10 over the Raiders. Like I said in the NFL predictions video, the Chargers will look like a Super Bowl contender in this game because it's the Raiders, and the Raiders are, at this point, they should be tanking at this point. So Chargers minus 10, locking it in. Philip Rivers will look like a Hall of Famer. He'll look like the greatest of all time in this game. And finally, the Philadelphia Eagles minus 7 over the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles are confident right now. 2 straight wins coming off the bye week, while the Cowboys are at a low point. There's friction in the Dallas Cowboys. There could be some tension. There could be a lot of questions being asked for the Cowboys the further this season goes down the line, especially if it keeps going the way it's going with the Cowboys right now. And the Cowboys had, I believe, their worst display of the season this past Monday Night Football game against the Titans. It's a game they could have had a big lead early, but they couldn't capitalize on turnovers. And the Cowboys just had their worst game of the season. And things are going from bad to worse right now for the Cowboys as they're going on the road in Philly on Sunday Night Football in primetime. And I think this spells disaster for the Dallas Cowboys. I'd like the Eagles to win and cover the minus 7. And those are Johnny's picks for the week.